Hello and welcome back to Podcasting as Praxis. I'm David, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm James, my pronouns are they and them.
I'm Jamie, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Rob, mine are he and him.
And I'm Alistair, my pronouns are also he and him. And I'm extremely impressed we managed to rattle that off first try. Well done, everyone.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we take a 20-minute fucking run up to it, though.
Yeah. Rob got all of the Rob out of his system.
Oh, don't tempt fate like that.
Taking a 20-minute run up to the podcast and actually stopping to pet all the dogs along the way.
Fuck off. Nope, not falling for it. Let's go. Okay, so let's just fucking get stuck into some news nuggets that we've prepared.
Let's first talk about some more good news from the hot strike summer, because things are still doing and they are still cool and good. First up, the criminal law barristers are going to walk out again on Monday, this time for a whole week. This is essentially due to a series of long-standing and devastating cuts to the profession and essentially all criminal justice in the United Kingdom, leading to massive staff losses and defendants needing to wait now multiple years to get a formal trial. But we'll be discussing much more of that next week in a special bonus episode where David and I chat to one of the barristers involved in the strike and what's going on there. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. And the next one is even more hot train action, because ASLEF, the train driver union, and the TSSA are also balloting for nationwide strike action across the 10 different private companies that they're working for.
And also the trains are off anyway because it's hot.
Yes.
Are the trains off hot? I don't know.
Yeah, all the tracks have melted.
Yeah, one of them went on fire.
Yeah, I was just about to say they caught fire somewhere, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me?
There was a train track burst into flames.
How is that possible?
I don't think metal's meant to do that. Is it like that fucking cladding that they encased?
No, it's the wooden bits, the sleepers, isn't it?
But yeah, there was people that it was some news fucking site posted it on Twitter, and a bunch of people were in the replies going, "Well, if it was a spark that started the fire, it's not the weather, is it? Because the weather isn't sparks." And it's like, oh yeah, I'm sure the temperature played no fucking part in this whatsoever. That's why it happens every day during the winter.
Starting fires across the west coast of the US in the summer and saying it's not my fault that these sparks were all here.
Yeah. Have the trees just considered being wetter?
I know I have.
So apparently ASLEF is going on strike quite rightly because all they've been offered so far is a 2% pay rise and money saved from productivity gains such as changing shift patterns. This is according to the FT. So, for that, just read, you could work in the middle of the night and maybe get a 2.5% pay bump against 11% inflation. So they can go to hell. And obviously, the government is doing the same as they are doing with the RMT, is they are telling ASLEF to negotiate with the rail operators, the private companies, and then simultaneously telling the private companies that they're not allowed to negotiate. So they are creating the impasse and then hoping you don't notice. So fuck that noise. And there was an article in the FT that said if all the ASLEF train drivers walk out at all companies, if there's a general strike, there will be about 10% of total capacity of all trains running in the UK. And that's even discounting the RMT strike or the possible TSSA strike.
Quality. I know that ScotRail just managed to avoid going on strike. They took something like a 5% pay deal. I don't know what the details were on the conditions. The conditions better have been fucking good if they accepted 5%, because otherwise that seems a bit rollovery. But yeah, here's hoping it wasn't too shit a deal for them.
Yeah, so TSSA, if you don't know, TSSA is a lot of the non-driving, non-train workers. They represent a lot of station workers, ticket office workers, that kind of thing. And they have already announced that they will definitely strike at West Coast because of pay, job security, and working conditions. And they are demanding no compulsory redundancies this year, a pay increase in line with the cost of living, so at least a pay bump of 12% probably, and no changes to working terms and conditions, all of which is cool and good, and we stand them, and we are here for them in support, of course.
Yes.
That's very cool. If nothing else, because I was reminded, because we have this new strain of COVID making the rounds, that all the workers of the RMT, ASLEF, and the TSSA, they're all key workers, and we couldn't stop clapping enough for them during the pandemic. But of course, now they can get fucked
That's
again.
not fair, Rob. That's not fair, Rob. There was that ferry that did donuts in the Thames. So they also
that was in support of nurses. That was not in support of train workers.
Oh, well, maybe they should get trains to do donuts for the train workers.
I mean, the way the tracks are warping in the weather, you might well get that.
The mythical multi-track drifting.
Just because all the tracks have melted, like all the trains are just coming into the station sideways.
Finally, the crumbling infrastructure is paying off by having extremely cool-looking trains coming into the station.
We can have Vin Diesel's scab as a driver. That's going to be fucking incredible, actually. In response, by the way, if you're curious, the government has just passed a new scab law that allows for agency workers to replace workers on strike, which of course was illegal before, but now the Tories have formally legalized scabbing, which is of course great news. However, I gotta say,
I can't wait to see how they get on with driving a fucking train.
This is my exact question. How many skilled train drivers, rail maintenance workers, rail schedulers are just like sitting at home waiting for the call, waiting to scab? Like, I don't think it's enough. Like, I mean,
I used to do agency work, and everyone involved's like a fucking. If you can't get a real job because you're just too fucking useless, you do agency work. That's how it used to work for me.
I was going to say, like, union density within pretty much all of the things that relate to running trains are, pretty astronomically high. So the people with the skills to do the shit that people are striking from are all going to be on strike or in the union anyway. So you are just going to have to get fucking dipshit nobodies who know less than nothing to try and run, like, national rail services for however long.
Get on Twitch and like fucking collar all the Microsoft Train Simulator players.
Well, I mean, they tried this. They tried this shit before, like getting scabs and amateurs in, and it resulted in such wonderful things as the Potter's Bar incident. So nothing can go wrong there.
I forget that incident. Was it good?
Yeah, it was great. It was very modern art.
Yeah, we'll get Justin Rosniak will come on, and he'll start by saying at 5:03 p.m., which is how you know it will be good. But yeah, no, I honestly think this is probably going to end if they do actually take up a bunch of scabs. I actually don't think there's going to be enough for them to be able to do it. I think it's just going to fall flat on its ass. But let's say, for example, they do manage to get all the train simulator dogs in. I think this ends with an accident. And I think material conditions are sufficiently different now that might cause like real populist outrage. I don't think they'll be able to spin it against the unions. So
it's going to be absolutely wild getting to watch the next Potter's Bar disaster through a fucking fisheye lens.
Well, I mean, it's going to be. It's weird because, like, even the heads of all the employment agencies, like the heads of the scab companies, even they have collectively said, we don't want these laws. We don't need these laws. We don't want to create a situation where our agency workers like have to walk past a picket line, because that's no good for anybody. And by the way, we don't even have enough people currently on our rolls to manage all this work. So I don't know what the plan is there. Like, it's just even the agencies say we can't do this.
Matt Hancock's gardener is going to start a fucking recruitment agency.
To be totally honest, they just don't want the liability either.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to, like, send people in to sit in an office and push a spreadsheet around. It's another thing to have them manning, like, multi-million-pound machinery that if it goes wrong, it, like, pancakes 30 people, you know? Like,
I mean, that's... if anything, James, you're underselling it. Like, 30 people, like, thousands of tons of steel coming off rails. Turns out, not good.
I don't think I've been in any jobs outside agency work that have gave me like a more rigorous health and safety induction than agency work. Like, every single time, no matter what the job's been, it's always been like, holy fuck, why is there like 2 days of health and safety on this fucking job that I'm being put through by the agency people?
They just don't want the liability.
Because they don't want the liability, exactly.
Well, I mean, but we do have a pretty good example, a recent example of what does happen when they do this shit. If you remember, P&O a couple months ago sacked like 800 workers and brought in agency workers from other countries and paid them far below the UK minimum wage. And since then, several of their ferries have been prevented from setting sail as their conditions were deemed to be too dangerous to set sail in the open sea or like crash into something in the channel. Which, apart from just being fucking scary as hell if you're a passenger on one, it's also led to even more border pile-ups in terms of HGVs because the ferries also carry freight. And of course, if they can't set sail because it's too dangerous, they can't go. So, like, that's it. Even in a magical world where you can find the right scabs and put them in the right place, the chances of them fucking it up. I mean, this is, the ferries have been prevented from setting sail. But my question is what happens when they don't catch one of these manifold flaws on time, or it's a train or something along those lines? And then
well, I mean, as I say, this is what happened with Network Rail, isn't it? It was previously privatized until it turns out the actual fucking maintenance of the infrastructure of the railway network has to be run not for profit, because you can't how do you turn a profit on maintaining railways other than the fucking obtuse markets that get introduced to whatever? Like,
I mean,
the fundamental core, right?
I mean, there's two ways you can do it, which is run super cheap labor, which is what they tried in the 90s, or like you create, infinite open-ended contracts, and then Capita will say, well, to replace one bit of track, it now costs $70 billion, and we're still going to use subcontracted cheap labor. So it ends up in the same place, essentially. So apart from all the rail strikes, there have also been fuel protests blocking the roads in the last couple of weeks, which we haven't really talked on. And I was sort of prepared to say, no, this is just, the red-faced Jeremy Clarkson brigade saying, it's why is it so expensive to run my very expensive car somewhere? But it's not that. It's just normal people trying to get to work, or independent HGV drivers who are so fucked by the cost of petrol that they can't do anything anymore. So that's been happening at the same time. And, of course, that's no good, because blocking the roads is one of those things. You remember when XR did that and everybody got really upset?
Yeah, when blocking the roads was bad, that's when XR did it, and blocking the roads
No, it's still
good.
bad.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I've been misinformed.
A Home Office source told the Daily Mail, through our Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act, we have given the police a wealth of powers to deal with disrupting and damaging protests, including imprisonment and unlimited fines for those blocking a highway, actions which inflict further pain on those already affected by rising prices. So, thank goodness we have those new powers now that civilization is entering a new and more exciting phase of terminal spiraling decline.
Yeah.
You know that bit in a cycle of matter getting pulled into a black hole, how it spins round? On the outer edge, it's going relatively slowly, but as it starts to kind of circle the drain and really get in, it starts to accelerate quite quickly, and yet time has skewed, so it doesn't seem like it's hit the event horizon yet. I think we're maybe coming up to about there.
Oh, is that why time's going backwards for us?
Yeah, Alistair, that's it. We crossed the event horizon, we're now all Benjamin's button.
But yeah,
Jamie's just regular now, though, so.
We're getting into the point where these are no longer going to be isolated events. Like, they're going to be collective crumblings. Like, when the next train derails because of understaffed and underpaid agency workers who don't really know what they're doing, there's not going to be enough ambulances to make it to the site, because they've also been cut to the bone. And there won't even be enough police to coordinate off, because the police too have been cut to the bone.
And it's not just that, though, Rob, but with the other overlapping crises that we're falling into with climate catastrophe and things like that, it not only is the rail infrastructure going to crumble and there's going to be no one who knows how to fix a train on anywhere near a train, we're also going to have things like landslips and floods, and for some reason tracks just plain catching fire because of how hot it is, etc.
Yeah,
so,
rains of frogs, plagues. It's that kind of. We're in the cool season now.
Things of that nature.
I think we've done plague already. Like that's kind of, we've been doing that one for a while.
No, but we're doing it again though, David.
Did you just go? Sorry, hang on. Did you just go to call David, Jamie?
I've got Jamie on the brain. What can I say?
Okay.
So I saw a dog and I thought of him.
The confusion is coming from inside the pod.
God, just want to walk along and pet every Jamie that I see.
Jamie,
Okay.
if you want to leave the room and file a report with David, then it's okay. We understand.
I'm fine. Like, fill your fucking boots.
Please stop calling me HR. Right. Okay. Shall we talk about...
That's the statement that David makes off the pod as well as on the pod.
Yes. Okay. Right. Shall we talk about the exciting Brave New World?
Ooh. All right. Cool.
So, are you looking for...
a clean start.
By someone who can be...
trusted to deliver.
Or perhaps you want to...
win back trust.
Or maybe you are...
ready for Rishi.
Oh no.
I want to die.
I am all these things.
Apart from the one that explicitly names like Rishi Sunak, these could all literally be like Keir Starmer fucking
One of them
slogan of
basically
the
is.
week. Yeah, I know. It is great. Keir Starmer is
Yeah.
standing for leadership of the Conservative Party. Oh, exciting.
All right. Tell me more about the little manlet. Come on.
We'll get to each of them, but yeah.
Can we
so,
before we start, David?
Mhm.
Can we just take a moment to pour one out for our boy, Dr. Robotnik, aka Eggman, aka Sajid Javid, the man who is never going to get his hands on those Chaos Emeralds?
No, fuck him.
R.I.P. Egg.
Theological question here, David. Theological question, right? An ecumenical matter.
Mhm.
If he's Eggman, shouldn't we be playing
Eggsmen,
the Sonic
please.
Eggsmen? Shouldn't we be playing the Sonic the Hedgehog victory music?
We probably should, but it doesn't have to make sense because
No.
I said
And
it
also,
didn't.
there are no winners here. Just
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
No one wins.
David is speaking ex cathedra, so let's just go.
So yeah,
Again, you're doing this thing where it's just jokes for you and Rob.
No, there's at least one patron who gets them. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Come on. Let's all put on
And
our
that
wizard
patron
hats.
is Rob. The exasperation.
Yeah, he's lost concentration.
Going to
He has cast
rewind to
spell
the
all
part
over
where I
again.
said I want to die. Fucking hell.
All right, Benjamin Button. Let's go.
Right.
Again, time is falling backwards.
All right, let's talk about the rail strikes.
I apologize, dear listener. I apologize. We are in the deep throes of heat madness.
Yeah.
And this is what is
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it is once again time for a tiny minority of people, which is depending on how this pans out, either going to be decided by about 20,000 people, we think, or maybe or less
The
than 400.
headbangiest headbangers you've ever heard of.
Yeah, and they get to decide who the next prime minister is, and this is the world
But-
we live in.
David, I am led to believe that these people are in fact more moderate than we initially think.
Yes, you have been led incorrectly.
Every time I skim Conservative Home, I think, God, what a bunch of moderates around here.
Yeah, it's not good. So we've got a confirmed amount now. There's 8 of them.
Hill? What? No.
No, sorry. No one has been taken off the board. We have 8 candidates. So I've got a list of all of the cunts that are going for it, and also, interestingly, some of the ones who backed them. I thought maybe we could play a little bit of Kremlinology on this. So, first up, Grant Shapps. He's out. He fucked it.
Oh, raspberries.
I know.
Does he get to keep his day job now with and just not talk to the unions again, or what is he off to?
Yeah, he still gets to do that shit. Next up, we have Rishi Sunak.
You say Shaps is out, but like at the bottom of the list, you're going to get to Guy Incognito.
Yeah, so next up is Sunak. Individuals who have backed him, notable ones anyway. Disgraced former Defence Secretary Liam Fox.
He's back.
Yeah, he's back in Fox form.
The Fox came back the very next day.
He said, our next PM must tell the truth to the British people. Again, that was disgraced former Defence Secretary Liam Fox.
The last guy they thought might tell the truth to the British public, they spent 5 years monstering and pulling out every single stop they could conceive of in order to prevent that from happening. So
Wrong truth.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Other notables here, we have Robert Jenrick, who was involved in the whole housing money thing.
Oh,
with
the housing minister guy who sat next to the big donor at the Tory party dinner and then all of a sudden mysteriously reversed the decision of his whole department to benefit said donor.
Yeah.
That guy. He's a cool guy. I like him.
Weird. Dominic Raab, perennial fuck-up and karate enthusiast. Grant Shapps is now back in Sunak.
Dominic Raab, geography Noah.
Yeah. Spider-Man's in there as well. Gavin Williamson came out and supported Sunak.
A point of order. There is no hyphen between spider and man.
It's to avoid copyright infringement. And Matt Hancock, human spaniel.
Serious question. I know apparently Gavin Williamson supports him, but do we know what Cronus is doing?
Probably still holding out for Patel.
Munching on a nice juicy grasshopper.
Next up, we have Penny Mordaunt, who is the
I didn't know she was still alive.
Trade Secretary. Yeah, she made an announcement doing a day-to-day tribute video featuring Oscar Pistorius. Which was,
yes.
Yeah, an interesting choice of all of it.
Well, I mean, if she's got his support...
He's a man who knows how to open doors. Notable in support here, Andrea Leadsom, failed previous candidate. Michael Fabricant.
Wait, Andrea Leadsom?
The Johnson doppelganger? Yeah.
Andrea Leadsom, yeah. Michael Fabricant, the hair guy, and David Davis.
Ah, the SAS.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who remembers the weird photo of him with two women who were like double D's
double
for Davis or whatever the fuck it was?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was
Now that's a man you could vote for.
Next up we have Tom Tugend. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, but before we move off Penny Mordaunt, I would just like to recall that she suggested that people who spray painted war memorials might benefit from some time spent with our service personnel, perhaps at a battle camp.
People who deface monuments should be conscripted then. Cool.
Yeah, largely I think that's what she's in favour of. We'll get to that. There's a lot of fucking culture war shit.
I'd love to have a criminal army workforce. That's a novel concept. Being press ganged into holding like a bunch of rifles. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Next up, Tom Tugend Hat, who's a troop. He has backers such as Damien Green. Remember Porno in Westminster, Damien Green?
Oh,
well, I mean, he's going to win on the basis of the stupidest name award, right?
Is he the tractor guy, the tractor porn guy?
No. This was a much older one. There was like porn found in his computer in Westminster. There was a password thing or something.
Oh,
I can't remember all the ins and outs of it, but yeah, that guy.
Oh,
he said it's time for a clean start
after he wiped himself down. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Next up, we have Nadeem Zahawi. One of the founders of YouGov.
Former Chancellor.
Yeah, former Chancellor. One of the founders of YouGov.
under investigation for his tax arrangements.
And just a general shit.
Well, I mean,
his
Alistair, you need to have like some subject matter experience because otherwise you can't be PM. You know,
you can't be Chancellor and you can't be Prime Minister unless you know exactly how to. And I'm not saying he has done this, but it would probably help knowing how to avoid and evade tax.
Also, I think he's the guy who's suggesting that one of the main pitches for his leadership is that there should be a 20% cut of all civil service across all departments across the board.
Yes.
Just like
20%. I've got a whole bit on cuts for everyone, yeah. His backer, Brandon Lewis, Tobias Elwood, look, kind of nobody's really for the most part. Kemi Badenoch, not sure how you pronounce the name, don't care.
Spiked Online. You might as well have Brendan O'Neill running.
Fully, yes, she is the Spiked Online candidate. She was the
I'm now really curious.
She was the one who, at the end of a Black History Month, went on this fucking in Parliament tirade about critical race theory being bad.
And
Solid.
Famously a thing we have in this country.
Yes.
And she's also the one who held her launch event today, and there were unisex bathrooms there, but she had it taped over and somebody wrote men on one and women on the other, even though they were like separate cubicles with separate locks on doors. That's her.
Yep.
That's who it was. Wow.
Yep.
And just to convey to the listener how shitty this, they had literally taken some sticky notes, written men and ladies, and then taped them to the fucking door.
And the reason they wrote ladies is because they're too scared to use the word women. That's just what trans ideology has done to these poor little snowflakes.
Why won't they
Fuck
say
off.
woman?
Oh, and she's also the one who opened her campaign saying that woke business is bad because it has a Ben and Jerry's tendency.
Yes.
That's
This
her.
whole idea that they care more about making woke socialist like progress than they do about making efficient profit making.
Keep all that shit in mind when we get to the culture war shit. Like you'll start to blur people a bit.
I think we've already arrived there.
Oh yeah. Notable backers for her: Ben Bradley, who said, "Kemi's got a really clear vision. Please retweet." And
did he really say please retweet? That's
no, he did
incredible,
not
Steve.
say. No, he did not actually say that.
Damn it.
Rob, come on.
Oh,
fuck's
disappointing me now.
I know, and the other notable one was Michael Gove.
Oh yeah.
Like, weird place for him to fucking throw his hat in the ring there, but alright.
Well, we're on the subject of please retweet. Who was the guy that like fucking just copy pasted the email asking him to show support into a tweet?
For Russia, I like genuinely had never seen that cunt before in my fucking life, and I couldn't tell you his name now. But yeah, there was that like full on fucking hashtag top bloke type shit.
Yeah.
It was good. Next up we have Liz Truss of Pork Markets fame. She has
Notorious
fucking,
LARPer.
Yeah, ridiculous fucking list of supporters. Dehenna Davidson, Simon Clark said, "She's tough on her enemies abroad, will seize the opportunities of Brexit and has a strong record of delivery."
Oh dear.
Delivering what is anyone's guess.
Nuclear war in our lifetime.
Oh, I wish.
Therese Coffey, notable DWP shit, also supports Liz Truss. Kwasi Kwarteng, which doesn't sound all that interesting, but fans of certain spreadsheets might think that's interesting. James Cleverly.
So
James-
Truss is the nominative determinism
Yes.
vote locked up?
Absolutely. James Cleverly said, "Her political values are right, and I've seen how effective she is in government, so take that as a fucking warning."
Lots of question marks over that fucking second bit.
Yeah.
She's sure turned up a lot over the last years.
She had that wonderful picture taken of her. Was it last year or 2 years ago, where she was sitting next to the espresso machine and like she had the phone upside
Yes.
down? or
Oh,
something?
mate. Oh, with the fucking thing's not even plugged in.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
fucking
So good.
ace.
Do you know what? There are huge fucking fucking Tory party conference that time when the fucking letters fell off the stage and everything. Except it's just a lot more diffuse. Rather than happening all at once to one person, it's happening to like a dozen people in the Tory party, but
I mean,
spread out.
Liz Truss would be the one to beam herself into Tory party conference while riding a nuclear missile and waving a cowboy hat. Like
Liz Truss is 100% would 100% like have her likeness holographically projected into Tory party conference to represent Britain stepping into a holographic future or whatever the fuck.
Which is probably correct, because I can fully see the future of Britain being like very bright light. I don't know how long it'll last, but there will be very bright light.
It'll be the last thing you'll ever see.
The last declaration was a joint declaration of Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nadine Dorries,
Oof.
which is interesting in itself.
Nadine Dorries is having really very sad puppy hours. Like, so she keeps looking as if like somebody is just like as if her bosses went away and she's not sure he's ever coming back.
Yeah, exactly that has happened. She's set for the Lords anyway. Like she's laughing.
Put a fucking stairgate in the Houses of Parliament, she'd never get past it.
Next up, we have Sajid Javid. Gone.
Oh.
Rip.
Womp womp.
His backers on a list that I found, the backers that he had, which were under the 20 required, when I looked at them, they were a bunch of fucking nabdies. I had no fucking idea who any single person on that list was, which was quite nice to see. Next up we have Suella Braverman, who is just she's came bad not by any other fucking name. Absolutely tragic all round cunt. Fully dying to cut benefits. Like we'll get into it, but like she's fucking terrible. Backers for her include backers for her Desmond Swain, Steve Baker.
Oh my god!
Yeah. And Richard Drax, the most evil sounding man.
That's a Bond
Westminster.
villain. That's a Bond villain. That's not a fucking.
No, that's a real guy. Hate to decree it, but yeah. Next up,
Actually,
we have Jeremy
David,
Hunt.
sorry, no, we can't move off Richard Drax yet. You're underselling Richard Drax. His full name is Richard Grosvenor Plunkett Earl Drax.
Well, all of those.
Yeah, this is his full name. He still owns, by the way, a working sugar farm plantation on Barbados that he inherited directly from his family.
Incredible.
Oh, I mean,
it's implied nominative determinism. Excellent. Next up, we have Jeremy Hunt. Then his backers, notable kind of names I could see: Crispin Blunt, Andrew Mitchell, Esther McVeigh.
The abstract concept of the plague.
Yeah, Daniel Kaczynski as well. That fucking freak urbanist cunt. Then we had Reman Shiste. Cishet, yeah, okay, fine. Every cunt fucking just backed away for him as soon as it started, so that's fine. And then finally, Priti Patel. I fully believe that she's cut some kind of fucking deal to make sure that she can remain Home Secretary with whoever she thinks might win. And that's probably going to, what better a place to make your name than as the Home Secretary in a emerging fascist state? Like, yeah, sounds like a good fucking play, really. Awesome. Cool. But yeah, so some of the things they want and
really
don't want.
Just an absolute series of fucking ghouls and monsters. It really they have fully let go. It's incredible stuff.
Well, let's get on to exactly how they're fucking monsters. We'll start with the milder stuff. So tax cuts. Everyone likes tax cuts, apparently. Corporation tax, Javed and Hunt. Oh, fuck Javed, he's out. Hunt wants to reduce it. Zahawi and Trust just merely want to scrap the rise in it. There's a rise plan to 25%. They want to scrap that and keep it at 19. Hunt actively wants to lower it down to 15, I think.
Yeah, to
income
become
tax.
Just to stay on this corporation tax again. How fucking many times are we going to play this exact same game? Because we've heard this for 30 years now, maybe 40. If we just cut the taxes more, then the corporations will come. Look around you. What the fuck? Have the corporations arrived yet? Or
they're already 19% is already far lower than the majority of countries.
It's because the UK is crumbling and shit, and that is why people don't want to come, including corporations. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Income tax up next. You would think they would maybe really fucking go hard here. Unfortunately, it's some real Lib Dem shit. So 1 pence off the base rate, which is already slated by 2024-25. Sunak's already kind of put that in place as the previous Chancellor. He intends to continue that. Zahawi wants to drop it to 2 pence. Not 2 pence, by 2 pence. So it'll be 18 pence for the base rate. Woo.
Oh man, I mean, it really would be let's fucking go. Let's drop fucking the base rate into 2%. Oh man.
Who honestly gives a shit about any, who the fuck is this for?
It's for the other MPs.
I can't conceive of a person who hears the sentence, we're going to reduce the base rate by 1 pence, and doesn't immediately fucking run into the sea screaming.
You ever seen a Lib Dem conference?
That fucking means? Do you know, you might as well be talking about we need to fucking make sure the runes are correctly flanged, otherwise the fucking business sorcerers might get into fucking difficulties. It's
oh, careful, Jamie, business sorcerers. Ooh. Yeah, it sounds a bit like council wizards.
See, Jamie, the mistake you're making is that you're thinking that this is directed at anyone that could, conceivably be described as normal, where the actual audience for every single one of these policy pledges is not even just the headbangers in the membership of the Tory party, but the actual MPs who I don't need to explain to you are even more head banging than.
At the moment, this is for 300 cunts, and then it might be extended out to 20,000 cunts. Like that's it. It's never going to be for anyone more than that.
Remember how it works is there's a bunch of backroom deals / backstabbing behind the scenes between the MPs until they come up with 2 candidates that they then put towards membership. So that is what this campaign is going to be like. It's going to be what these pricks actually want to present to the country in the sense of policies that they want to implement, rather than what is popular among the general populace.
Well, I think, Alistair, you'll find out that you're not actually allowed to ask these questions because Tim Shipman has told you that this bit is not for you, so you're not allowed to talk about it on Twitter.
Yeah, well, maybe he can go fuck himself.
Yeah, perhaps he should become more unbound. National insurance, there's a rise planned. Truss and Tug End Hat want to scrap it. Fuel duty, Javid again, he keeps coming up here. Tug End Hat wants to cut it by 10 pence, and Mordaunt wants to cut VAT in half on fuel duty. It's all very
fuel
fucking...
Fuel duty's been fucking frozen for more than a decade now.
Yeah.
What do you want? Do you want to just pour the petrol in the streets and light it on fire? Maybe we can
Yes.
Maybe you can fill London Zoo with it.
Who's promising that they get my vote?
Yeah, none of them.
Upgrading Jamie's funeral from his front lawn with water dumped on it to being Jamie dumped under gasoline, which is then set ablaze in some kind of weird Viking-esque
Should we just pour it inside London Zoo and just set the penguins on fire just to make the metaphor complete?
No.
Check the weather forecast are already
Leave
on
the
fire.
fucking penguins alone, you cunt.
The vibe I'm getting off all of this so far is this is a party that does not want to actually do anything while it governs, apart from make things worse for minorities. Like literally that's it.
There's 3 elements to this bit that I'm going through just now. This is the bit where they would actually make some kind of difference to your daily life, and they have all of the fucking capacity of the state with which to do it, and these are the kind of narrow corridors that they're having to operate in because of the selectorate, effectively. Energy bills, Rob. The only one I could find that mentioned energy bills was Suella Braverman.
Oh no.
Yeah, who wants less VAT on energy bills. That's it.
But
that was all that was said. Just some
Labour's
less VAT.
been talking about that.
Yes,
that's
it's fucking Keith shit. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not a Labour policy. It's the Labour policy.
And it already got stolen. They did that. Fucking Sunak did that 2 months ago, and better than Labour did it.
Yep.
What? How? Right.
Last one on tax cuts.
I'm enjoying Rob just howling into the void.
Right. There was a thing this week or last week.
Coughing up a hairball while he's at it.
The new rise in the fucking electricity bills is going to go to over 3,000 now, right? In the autumn, and then maybe up to 4 in January. I think that's the latest projection. What is this?
Less VAT on it.
What?
Less VAT, Rob.
I am.
My left arm is tingling. Why do I smell toast?
See what it is? If there'd been less VAT, then maybe that fucking Japanese Prime Minister might not have been killed by the fallout gun.
Yeah, but Jamie, if we didn't have all these VATs, where would we put all of our piss?
That's VARs. You're just getting confused.
Yeah.
Easy mistake to make. I'm enjoying this episode for giving us many more soundboard clips of Rob. This is pretty good.
I love to hear Rob literally hemming and hawing.
Kemi Badenoch, the only thing I could find from her was that she wants to, quote, reduce corporate and personal taxes.
Oh, okay.
That was it.
That
was
that's
as much as she's been pushed on it.
Were those her exact words, or did she somehow tie it into the woke?
No, she had other sentences for the woke. Next up, state cuts. As Rob said, Nadeem Zahawi wants to slash 20% of staff from all parts of the civil service, including the health service.
Right,
so,
there was a
cool.
There was a bit that I didn't have time to include in the Nuggets because it was a bit too late in the day. There's a report out now that, I think certainly in the north, but maybe across the country now, that all ambulance services of the NHS are on code black, which is essentially what they do in the middle of winter, during the traditional winter crisis. But it's now the summer crisis too. Where the fuck?
Traditional winter crisis, Rob.
He's not wrong.
Extremely
He's not
apt
wrong.
use of words. Yeah.
So much worse than the traditional Dutch winter crisis as well.
That is also Code Black, but for very different reasons.
Oh no! Oh no! Right, okay. Jeremy Hunt. He wants to.
I hope Jeremy Hunt wins because I cannot wait to hear like newsreaders calling the Prime Minister a cunt.
It's the only silver lining possible here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was going to say, Jamie, it's the only thing that our podcast has to offer, though. So you don't want to get rid of our USP.
Hunt wants debt to fall as a percentage of GDP. Every single one of them has said that exact same boring fucking sentence.
I don't know what that means.
It doesn't matter. But he would also spend 3% of GDP on the armed forces. So he may also be the Ajax candidate.
You need more army to drive like the ambulances and like fucking the trains and everything else that's either on strike or on fire or both.
Eventually, we'll all be in the army.
To casually increase the amount that you're spending on the army by 50%.
No, it's more because we're not spending 2% right now. That's a target.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that's the NATO target. I think we're 1.2, 1.3, something like that. It's significantly lower than it should be according to fucking NATO.
Buy another couple of Ajaxes, that'll get with her.
Yeah, that'll take us right over the line. Tug End Hat has been kind of quiet on this, other than
we also want one that can pull a passenger train. There you go. 4% of GDP pissed directly up the fucking wall.
It's kind of funny because I was thinking that when David said buy some more Ajaxes, that'll get us over the line. I was like, oh, that's funny because Ajaxes won't. Yeah,
well, it depends on the height of the line. Yeah, if the paint's too thick, it's fucked.
It's only if it takes more than 20 minutes to get to the line. If it's a shorter distance, we're fine.
Tom Tuggenhat, he has been kind of quiet on this, other than saying he has a vague 10-year plan, which...
Oh, twice the commitment to Stalin. We like to see it.
Well, yeah. And Badenoch wants to means test pensioners' winter fuel payments, and also, wait for this one, wants to stop the cost of living payments.
Oh yeah, because she was doing the very traditional Tory things of the fat cats on benefits have had it too good for too long, and it is about time we stop that.
Yeah, well, we have. Fuck you. Take my fucking, like, you know what I mean, my luxurious benefits lifestyle from my cold, dead hands, motherfuckers.
I mean,
that's the idea,
moment.
I think, yeah.
I haven't had to go on, like, fucking Twitter and beg people for money for, like, at least 3 weeks now. So, yeah, living the fucking life of Riley over here.
Oysters for everyone.
She's constantly fucking going off about benefits claimants and fraud and all, the usual fucking best of the sun type shit.
That's such a minor percentage of all. Never mind. Yeah. These people don't live in reality. Why do I even bother turning up to this podcast and howling to the void like an idiot?
I'll tell you why, Rob. It's so that you can hear about their policies on the culture wars.
Oh, good. Well,
let's not.
This is why they need to increase. Hunt wants to increase spending on the army by 3% of GDP, so that we can finally win this war on the culture that we're trying to wage.
So on the culture wars, there was an amazing tweet. First all MP Tory leadership hustings is tonight. Any candidate with over 20 MP support will be grilled on their approach to the culture wars, including controversial statues and British history, by the Common Sense group of Tory MPs.
Oh, get in the fucking bin.
What? For some reason, my vision has been clouded over by nothing but red flags.
Yeah.
Controversial statues.
Common sense is something that cunts say when they know they're wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
You go like, oh yeah, well, like, what should we do about like the economy? And you go, well, if you pay people well enough, like, oh, common sense says we should just like machine gun anyone who's late for work. Do you know what I mean? Like, common sense is the guy in the pub who's like declaring that when he's prime minister, anyone who indicates at a roundabout will be hung.
They've all had a go. Every single one of them has been, like, to some degree, turfy. Every single one of them has come out with some kind of fucking transphobia. The only one who didn't and actually gave, like, a badly worded, but, like, generally not actually terrible statement on the idea of trans rights was Grant Shapps, who, like, rip. So... yeah, it's shit.
Well, thank God they got that danger out of there.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Suella Braverman, who, by the way, is a founding member of Catherine Burbosing's Hell School.
Oh, great! Oh, so happy that our podcasts keep coming back to life. I'm so happy that this is another topic that keeps coming back.
She loves a Nazi conspiracy because she consistently uses the term cultural Marxism, like openly in front of people, and expects them to take her seriously. And she also wants to take Britain out of the ECHR because it's been too long and it's done too much damage to this once wonderful country.
Yeah, whenever I think of Tory MPs just bandying the phrase cultural Marxism around, and especially because it's almost a year ago today, it just makes me think of how sad it is that we lost Dawn Foster. Yeah. She was one of the only journalists who actually had the presence of mind / balls to actually say, "Yo, what the fuck are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Last time this came up,
more than just over a year ago. Fucking R.I.P. That's someone we miss. Yeah. I mean, all we have now is Abby Wilkes pissing off Frankie Boyle.
The longest meltdown so far. Yeah, that's
I love that. I love it spawned a Twitter account called "Is Frankie Boyle Over It Yet?" and surprise, surprise, no.
Meltdown May is extended into July.
So that's kind of where we are. By the time this podcast comes out, some of those people may be off the list because, like we said, it is all backstabby as fuck, and it's expected to be down to 2 candidates by the weekend. So, yeah, let's see how we fucking got on there.
Right, I'm not reading the whole thing, but this is part of a larger piece. It was written in the Telegraph a couple of days ago by Alexandra Goss, and I'll read you the main article title. It's called "Rising Prices Are Derailing My Castle Renovation."
Rob, but it's saying here that you wrote this.
I don't live in the UK. I don't have this problem. Right. This is
also, to be totally honest, Rob would never renovate the vampire castle he lives in. Like, that would destroy the appeal.
Well, no, because then Frankie Boyle couldn't leave it.
Oh dear.
So this is part of a much longer piece about how costs for renovations in general and builder prices are rising. The specific section about the castle falls under an even more enchanting subsection called "I used to be embarrassed asking for discounts. Now you have to."
Oh God, no.
I'd love to get mates rates when I'm having my castle built.
I love the idea that, I used to be so rich that I just paid whatever they said, but now I'm having to actually barter for a living. I feel like one of the paupers.
Oh, I'm just going to pop down to the food bank and try and pick up some mortar.
Yeah, there's an offer on 6 serfs for the price of 5. Jude Edgell and her husband, Terry, bought a castle near Cowbridge in the Vale of Glamorgan in 2018. The property, set in almost 72 acres, was on the market for £1 million, but needed some serious TLC. The roof was collapsing, the walls were crumbling, and about a third of the building was derelict. The whole place was also riddled with dry rot.
I mean,
bees,
who buys a
bees
castle
everywhere
with crumbling walls? That's literally all a castle is. Also, I'm trying to picture the kind of castle that would be owned by a guy called Terry.
I looked Terry up. He's the CEO of some kind of forestry group. So they could also always get free timber from that guy, I guess. I don't really get how any of this works.
Yeah, but if it's a wooden castle, is it really a castle, Rob?
No, not really. It's more of a
bastion.
That's more of a Mott and Bailey construction. I'm not really up for that kind of thing anymore.
You've outgrown it.
Almost 4 years later, the couple are still doing up Penllyn Castle, I hope I pronounced that correctly, which dates primarily from the 18th and 19th century, but has parts that are thought to have been built around 1135. The undertaking is massive. The property is being rebuilt, repointed and re-roofed, while builders recently dug out more than 100 tons of earth simply in order to lay in new flooring on the ground floor and install underfloor heating.
Fuck off.
They should have just got them to do something useful, like re-dig the moat or whatever.
They may need that moat in the short time.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, I hate fucking new builds just as much as anyone else, but this is kind of taking the piss a bit.
Also, I can't believe that my 100 tons of earth removal is taking more time and is more expensive than I thought it would be. These are the problems of every day that you have to tackle in the Telegraph.
Yeah.
Time-wise, you can head down to the town centre, round up a bunch of stout lads, and then just get them to till your earth for you, with the promise of a paper bag filled with a sandwich and an apple.
Come and work for Lord Terry.
Everyone knows that the phrase "move heaven and earth" means a small task.
Oh, could you imagine if Lord Terry and Alpha Barry teamed up? They'd be unstoppable. Put the fucking castle on the blockchain or some shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
The first Bitcoin-only castle, yeah. In the past few months, rising prices have really started to bite. Building material prices have doubled over the past 2 years. Some timber went up from £200 a cubic meter to over 500, says Mrs. Edgell, for whom overseeing her mammoth renovation is a full-time job.
Is it?
Well, my job, if you can call it that, is redesigning my own home.
That's why it's like taking so long and it's so expensive, is because this dipshit is doing it. You know what I mean? They could have hired like an architect or a builder or someone who actually knew shit.
Yeah.
But now this fucking idiot's got like 400 hours on Minecraft just cracking her knuckles like, I can fucking handle this shit.
It has incredible...
Which season of Grand Designs is this?
Fuck you, I was going to make that...
Dug up the whole floor of the castle so they can like put a bunch of redstone underneath to make the doors open automatically.
Implemented like a redstone railway. Oh, that'd be great.
Quotes used to be valid for 3 months, but now they are going down from 28 days or even 15. I've also noticed that contractors have started to add terms to the small print saying they reserve the right to increase prices. That's so stressful because you can't plan. I have never read this much small print in my entire life.
Well, just don't.
Yeah.
One weird trick, you know what I mean?
Or, another one, live in a normal house. It's entirely up to you. You could do this.
Or just hire someone to do the renovation that knows what they're fucking doing.
Rob, when you say live in a when you say live in a normal house, given it's you speaking, I have to question what your calibration is for normal house fare.
No more
Wayne
than
Manor.
Yeah, at least 2 wings.
Yeah, I mean, I would say normal is anything up to like 3 levels of dungeon. I think that's about isn't that normal?
Saucy.
What?
Might be normal for the Dutch, like. Yeah.
Well, there's this big castle in San Francisco that you can move into. Also, I love this. It's like that. This is the first time this woman has had to read like small print in her life. It's like whenever any one of us has to like get a new credit card or fucking fix anything.
Until recently, I've been extremely divorced from reality, and frankly, being brought back down to earth is just crying shame of the state of our nation.
I resent these melting winds. Someone turn down the sun.
Vastly increased lead times for many products are also causing problems. The delivery date for steel-framed windows has been pushed back from end of June to end of October. Oh no. While a bespoke glass house now won't be ready until May 2023.
People keep throwing stones in the fucking thing. Yeah.
That's like a bespoke glass house. Is that a greenhouse? Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
Because that's surely not an essential part of the fucking like construction of a castle.
It might be. They might be lizard people. They might need to like bask in the warm sun during the English winter.
Yeah, it's a terrarium.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just imagine turning up with hauling a bunch of siege engines like 300 miles in the Middle Ages, and you get there and the castle's made out of fucking glass.
So someone just turns to like a siege engine operator. This seems apocryphal.
Just loads of birds just stotting off the fucking sides of it.
There's just one very overworked window cleaner just like panting outside, kind of going, just give me, just go ahead.
Imagine the size of the dead bees you would get on that windowsill.
See, that's why they're doing it. That's like nutrition all year round. If you can get sufficiently sized bees all year round, then they're fine.
The men in the fly castle.
The manufacturer wanted a 50% deposit up front for the glass house, although Mrs. Edgell negotiated that down significantly. I used to be so embarrassed about asking for discounts, but if you don't ask, you don't get, especially on a huge project like this.
Again, until now, I've been blissfully unaware of reality.
Yeah, money just didn't matter to me. I just had the infinite sluice come through, and I would just hook it up. It's fine. Mrs. Edgell, who documents her renovation to more than 47,000 followers on Instagram.
47,000, wow.
I mean, to be fair, like this is just grand design shit, so I'm not that surprised.
Are there even that many people on Instagram? That just seems like a ludicrously high number.
Unfortunately, there are.
Yeah, no, Instagram is where all the kids are these days.
Yeah, no, I was being sarcastic.
She had to renegotiate the contract for the bots. It's been very stressful. She has started shopping around as much as possible. However, because the building is Grade 2 listed, that is not always straightforward. It requires specialist materials such as lime mortar and highly skilled tradespeople. It's like, well, yeah.
Simply hire them.
I've placed the burden of the full-time job of trying to renovate this house when I could, in fact, just get a real fucking job and then not have to worry so much about how much I'm spending on this enormous castle. Sorry.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that when you're renovating like a listed building, they make you use like, do you know what I mean? Specialist materials such as stones and not just like pebble dash the entire fucking outside of it.
Oh, encase that shit in mortar and give it the live, laugh, love treatment.
Yeah,
I think the fundamental problem is they fundamentally like overstretched their budget by building their castle in the sky, and now they're discovering that you actually have to use stone to fill it in rather than imaginary mindscaping. But oh well.
In this castle, we dance like nobody's watching, and we pay prices like we don't give a shit.
What they could do to save money is when they get finally get the glass house installed, they could have like the fucking Crystal Maze guys come and just like fill it with golden tickets or some shit.
I think you'll find that to build a castle like this, you already need a golden ticket, Jamie.
Or at least a silver spoon.
The couple hope to move into the main house next year, by which time it should have 8 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms.
Love how there's like the main house, the additional house, the adjunct house,
the terrarium,
extra house,
several smaller sub houses,
all layered within each other. They're just building the castle out one layer at a time, like
no, it's like
doll.
It's like the locker in fucking Men in Black. It just backs onto like a whole other giant world.
The TARDIS in the back garden is just still not operational. It's been a fucking nightmare. Even though they do not expect all the works to be finished by that time. It's already cost a lot more money to get to this stage than what it cost us to buy, and there's a lot more to go.
It's cost us so much money to make a huge mess of this.
The tagline for Grand Designs.
The expensive things will be the kitchen and the bathrooms, Mrs. Edgell said. So she has 8 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms, but no kitchens or some bathrooms. I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
I would have thought, if anything, the castle would have been the expensive part.
Yeah, the kitchen's going to be in the glass house, and like every time they want like bacon and eggs, they just chuck them in on the floor. Like the sun sort of.
What you've misunderstood, they've actually created an enormous lens.
It's actually it's not just a castle. It's actually the world's largest popcorn maker.
Join me in the refractorium.
There is always another problem to uncover, but I'm quite resilient to that now. This is such an amazing place that has been around in one form or another for 900 years. We are restoring a piece of history.
One form or another. That's very generous.
Yeah. They're restoring a piece of history by building a fucking giant greenhouse.
Yes, traditional 11th century greenhouses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's it. That's your critical castle update.
Excellent.
I am enjoying the adventures of the Castle of Thesis. Like, sounds fantastic.
I just don't understand these fucking people. I do not understand them in the fucking slightest. But yeah, let's...
I genuinely thought you were about to say I don't understand these fucking references, and I was going to have to bring up Trigger's Brew.
All right, well, we're still going to round this off with comment or commentariat because we did the short
are.
Yeah.
Only time you've ever been excited about this, Jamie.
Well, it means we didn't have to talk about fucking Keith, so...
Yeah.
Let's do some comment or commentariat.
All right, so let me start. David and I both did some homework for this, so you're getting... Whatever snidery the political obituarists are busy scribbling...
Brendan.
What's great is we're all thinking it, and it's just like, yep.
Boris Johnson was adored in a way that politicians rarely are, and in a way the metropolitan media class never began to understand.
Yep.
Even those of us
Brendan.
Even those
I can hear the forehead from here.
Even those of us who eventually came to the conclusion that he had to go for the sake of party and country may now feel a shaft of sadness of a blonde sun going out.
I'm sensing the powerful thrumming of an elongated cranium from here. Like,
cranium, right? Okay. Thought you were taking that in a different direction, if I'm honest.
What?
The shaft of sadness.
What I love is my audio cut out for a good 3 seconds there when it came back and you were still laughing your ass off.
All right, so is this comment or commentariat?
It's Brendan. It's fucking Brendan.
It's Brendan. It's commentariat, Brendan.
It is commentariat, but it is Alison Pearson in The Telegraph.
Oh no, that sounded so much like Brendan.
That was an excellent impression by her.
Yeah, no, clearly she's learning from the master.
We got any more about the shaft of sadness?
No.
It happens to all of us where we age, James.
Speak for your fucking self, mate.
The past 6 years have been a turbulent and controversial time in British politics. Through them all, one person consistently delivered progress, not deflected by the chaos around her. As others made headlines, Liz Truss made deals. Comment or commentariat?
I think it's commentary. This feels like consensus building.
Got that sort of flavour to it, hasn't it? I'm going to say commentariat as well.
I'm just going to decide by those dice someone was playing with earlier. Commentariat. There you go.
I see you're adopting my old bit, Jamie.
Right. Is it James Cleverly writing in the Times?
Oh, okay. No, that was Andrew Lillico writing in The Spectator.
Andrew, fuck.
Yep.
Why are the wannabes creating all these vanity promos, and why is there a dramatic change in tactics? Why didn't Sunak mention anything to Boris? I am so shocked to read that Sunak was so scheming, as is the chap from Baghdad. The rest, well, I just don't know.
The chap from Baghdad?
I think that's Sajid Javid.
Oh my god.
Yeah, comment.
Commentariat.
Yeah, comment.
Commentariat.
That is a comment from Conservative Woman.
Okay.
An old favourite.
From the lunatic overreaction to a few days of sunshine, you'd think Britain had never experienced hot weather before.
Whoa!
Commentariat.
Some of us are old enough to remember the summer of 1976, when the heat wave lasted 2 whole months, reservoirs and rivers dried up, and there were standpipes in the streets. This was third world weather, 96 degrees in the shade. Newspapers ran...
Fuck off with your Fahrenheit, you cunt.
Newspapers ran...
Use a real measure of temperature, you cunt.
It's
oh my god.
Imperial measures only now. It's 15 apothecary ounces of weather tomorrow.
Honestly, do not fucking step to me on units of measurement, because it is the thing that winds me up like nothing else.
You're in for a bad time in the future. Newspapers ran few water scorcher headlines and fried eggs on the pavement. Nobody issued a level 3 health alert. We just got on with it. The country didn't shut down for the duration.
Exhaustion.
We weren't bombarded with doomsday warnings that everything from the NHS to the power stations was about to go into meltdown. Comment or commentariat?
Commentariat. Also, how hot was it during that heat wave? Was it 45 degrees?
I don't know, 96 degrees apparently.
Let's
Fahrenheit.
look up what that is in
I don't know.
in a real number.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've never really had to consider Fahrenheit because it implies that I would need to listen to Americans.
35.5 degrees.
Whoa.
I'm trying to figure out whether it's Brendan or not. Like, for real, is Brendan? I think it might be.
Nah.
Is it?
It's Brendan's not old enough to remember 1976.
Yeah.
This is Rod Little or something.
Back in 1976, Brendan's family was still peasant stock in Ireland, weren't they? So.
Well, I mean, it took his mum years to push him out with that head.
Honestly, this fucking excerpt that you've read out is just pure distilled fucking boomer. Like, we just dealt with it in the good old days. Never mind the fact that at the high end of the predictions for the weather of 42, 43 degrees, that is, you will die if you sit out in the sun levels of heat.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll all just sit out in the sun and get on with it, you know what I mean?
My feeling is that Brendan wasn't born then, but he's definitely pompous enough to kind of pretend like he was.
Also, right? Like, what the fuck is it? Oh, we just got on with it in the 70s. Like, you never fucking shut up about the goddamn 70s. Oh, it was so bad they didn't take the bin away. I thought I was going to die. Do you know what I mean? Like, shut the fuck up. You can't have it both ways. Either it was like a glorious unending summer that you just got on with, or you had to like fucking like hide in a bomb shelter because the bins didn't get emptied.
So is it comment or commentariat?
In short, the 1970s are a land
I'm going to
of
go
contrast. This is commentariat.
Okay, it was commentariat. That was Richard Littlejohn in the
There
Daily
we
Mail.
go.
Oh, the master. Yeah, okay.
Fuck, yeah. It was Rod Little or Richard Littlejohn, but they are essentially the same person.
Well done on finding the one paragraph in a Richard Littlejohn article that didn't mention the gay mafia.
All right, last one. Labour would do well to understand why Boris was able to make such inroads. It happened because they felt alien.
Is it because Labour helped them?
It happened because
No, stop looking at all those newspaper articles from Labour MPs.
It happened because they felt alienated by Labour's sneering contempt for their values. And by its transformation into a party that placed the demands and priorities of social activists, student radicals, and middle class liberals
Just
over
say
their own.
black people.
But just wait. Here comes the kicker. It happened because they felt Labour cared more for the views of Greta Thunberg than it did for those of Gillian Duffy.
Fuck Gillian Duffy! like, for real, one of the few good things Gordon Brown did, like, on its face you can call good. Calling a bigot a bigot. Fucking Christ.
It's got to be commentariat, surely. Like,
yeah. Commentariat, because anyone writing a comment wouldn't look up her fucking name. They would just go, that bigoted lady. You know what I mean?
Working class people never concerned about the climate. That's not a thing that they worry about. No, this was commentariat. It was Paul Embury writing in Spiked these days.
Paul, you fucking piece of shit.
I looked at that article and then very quickly went, no, I can't be arsed with this shit.
David went scouring the underneath of tables to find some suitable chewing gum and saw a particularly gnarly piece and thought, nah, I'll give that a miss. And then what was turned up on his plate later the same afternoon?
It was in there like Pac-Man.
Okay, let's fucking call it there, shall we? Next week we will have potentially a bonus episode depending on the heat with it's an interview that me and Rob done with Hannah Webb, who is the co-chair of the Haldane Society of Socialist Lawyers, to talk about the barrister strike. So look forward to that. Like I say, possibly the bonus. It'll be available on the free feed if it is the bonus. It's not going to be the premium episode, just the bonus. We'll wait and see how much we're dead from heat. We can also be found on twitch.tv/praxiscast and Patreon.com/PracticeCast as well. Streams, just there won't be one this week on release week because we're recording the bonus or the premium episode. But just keep an eye out on it. Again, heat dependent, we may be streaming. Merch is available at practicecast.tmail.com. Check it out and listen to Peace at Home. It has music by Jordan.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful evening if you're listening in the evening.
Yeah. Enjoy your sweatbox wherever you are.
Yes. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.